Attention! For the PressCorps, I'm Cecil A Vectori. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you the latest news from the Siva Valley conflict. Here in the 119th World Conquest of the Foxhole War, it's day 223. Reports from our liaisons embedded in both armies of the war have reported that both sides have managed to research new vehicles such as half-tracks and rocket trucks. This is a reminder that the PressCorps is focused on the Able Shard. And now, a look at the PressCorps Casualty Office. Combined casualties for this conflict have reached a total of 2,549,000 deaths. The Wardens suffer over 1,263,000 dead, while the Colonial Legion reports 1,285,000. Farinac Coast is currently the deadliest region, with over 317,000 in combined deaths. And now for some headlines. Warden Commandos briefly take control of Jade Cove Town Hall during daring raid. MSA Coalition closing in on Ulster Falls from all sides. Mass requisition of civilian fire engines due to generalization of incendiary rounds reported. CSU Coalition split between advancing into Alad's Bight and guarding Endless Shore. The Manacle is under threat from NEP artillery. Neutral foreign navies on edge as both sides threatening unrestricted submarine warfare. Important headway made into Reavers Pass by KRGG and Fears. Sighting of destroyers slows Seavish naval logistics. Headman's Villa and famous Fort Barley oil field back under Warden control in following regional push. In Marben Hollow, Colonials finished securing their side of the river. And now a look at the front lines. Heavy fighting in King's Cage as Wardens attempt to defend the Manacle from Colonial forces. A Colonial-captured relic base in Slipchain helps partially surround the Manacle, offering the Colonials a path into the city without a dreaded bridge fight. Lines hold at the Farinac Coast, with Colonials holding the Central Islands. Wardens hold everything to the north of the Exta Gulf, and the town of Mara. In the central regions, heavy fighting in the Land of Mercy as the Colonials capture Rot Dust and hardline relic bases, which threatens to encircle the Warden-held Ulster Falls. The vital Great Scale Road lifeline holds on for the Wardens, but is in constant danger of falling. In Callahan's Passage, Colonial forces managed to hold onto the latch, giving the Messian soldiers time to establish a proper foothold in the region. Marben Hollow remains largely unchanged, with Wardens still holding on to Checkpoint Bua and the lands to the east of it. It seems like the conflict in the area is settling in to be a long one, folks. And in the east, the Warden push south into Reavers Pass seems to be holding a bit longer this time. However, it'll probably not be the last time the territory changes hands between the two factions. Every push south for the Wardens risks striking closer to the town base of Scuttletown, and giving the Wardens an opportunity to push into Terminus proper. Lines hold at the Clastra as battle lines are drawn around the Treasury and Watchful Knave. And now for a special report. Recently, the PressCorps has entered a partnership with Robert Loves Games to gain access to the marvelous war stories told within his community. I personally would like to make it a goal for myself to read out one story a day. This story, or After Action Report, comes to us courtesy of Discord user AW/. A reminder that the following account is a community submission and any views expressed are not representative of the PressCorps as a whole. And now, the report. Last night, the time finally came to gather up all the shells the regiment had been tirelessly preparing for days. We received word from one of our scouts that heavy fighting was taking place at the King's Cage Western Bridge, and with the proper support, a breakthrough might be possible. 6 vehicles left the base that fateful evening, loaded with artillery guns and 4 pallets of 120mm ammunition. When we arrived at the front line near Scarlet Hold, it was pure chaos. The bridge was in shambles, and everything was being shelled into oblivion. We took cover near the relic base during the fight to avoid the worst of the incoming barrage, giving us a chance to regroup and catch up on the current frontline situation. At first light, when the enemy artillery ran out of shells, we knew it was now or never. We rushed to our vehicles and set up positions near the bridge, making the start of a very bad day for the Wardens. We gave them one hell of a pounding, to say the least. Over the span of 3 hours, we fired nearly 1,500 artillery shells from 2 batteries, with each shot carving up their defenses and allowing our infantry to gain ground inch by inch. With our initial ammunition load, we managed to completely destroy their bunker base on the northern side of the bridge. At one point, we were firing so far that our shells were landing on the cliffs and into the facilities in the Manacle itself. We received several pallets of ammunition from the BBB regiment, for which we are eternally grateful, allowing us to keep firing for what felt like an eternity. Eventually, we ran out of everything and decided to head back to base and get some more. As we were returning to restock on shells and precious fuel, 3 light tanks arrived and began pushing our infantry back. We rushed our flatbeds through dense forests while the rest of the crew prepared and packaged another load of shells for us. Within 7 minutes, we were back on the road, heading to the front lines once again, ready to rain high explosive ordnance on our enemies, and occasionally friendlies if the wind willed it. We targeted their first tank line first, forcing them to retreat, and then started ranging our shots in on their bunker base again. When we received coordinates from our spotter, the initial ranging shot was fired. Everyone sat silently, waiting for the impact. Then, over the radio, we heard the captain shout at maximum volume, "Right on target! Right on target! Fire for effect!" What followed was 30 minutes of non-stop heavy barraging. At one point, a brave, and likely insane, Warden soldier swam across the river to our spotter's position. He claimed we should adjust our guns 10 degrees to the left for, quote, a better target, which would have landed the shells squarely in the middle of nowhere. He also insisted that he was friendly and only wanted to take a look at the guns. A madman, I know. Shortly after that, we ran out of shells and decided to retire our smoking guns for the night. A huge thank you to all the brave, random individuals who helped us load the shells, despite the heavy counter-artillery fire we endured at one point during the operation. This concludes our community-submitted after-action report. We'd like to once again thank the Robert Loves Games. We'd like to once again thank Robert Loves Games and his amazing community for this after-action report. It's players of the game like you that help make Foxhole such an amazing community, and it keeps us on the air. So thank you. And now moving on to some general war information. Do you hear that? It's the constant thundering of artillery. Field guns have made their way onto the battlefields of Raqqa, and it's important to keep an ear out while you're on the front. When you hear the thunder, it's time to duck and cover. Rocket vehicles have been researched by both sides. A reminder that rocket artillery can cover a large area. If you hear rockets, be sure to move from cover to cover and keep your head down. The schematics of large naval ships and amphibious landing craft have been discovered by both sides. It's now a race to see which side can get vessels built and crewed first for a new era of naval warfare. And now, a quick look at the weather. Reported weather conditions remain largely unchanged since our last broadcast. Sunny conditions have been recently reported in Calakai and Red River. Remember that weather conditions can change the course of a fight, so always be prepared with our PressCorps forecast. Our weather forecast wouldn't be possible without the help of volunteer storm chasers. If you'd like to know more about the Storm Chaser Corps, visit PressCorpsGaming.com/weather. And now a bit of community news. The Press Corps has opened up applications for regimental advertisements. Do you want to spread awareness of who you are? Join the Press Corps Discord to make a submission, and we'll handle the rest. From the Press Corps, we'd like to extend a warm welcome to the freshly enlisted in our ranks who may have joined us for War 119, and returning veterans who have returned for the long-awaited infantry update. We'll see you on the front line. Finally, this is your reminder to stay hydrated. A hydrated soldier is an alert soldier, and an alert soldier makes all the difference in the war. Stay tuned for more music, weather, and news from the front lines. Whether you're hauling in the back or fighting on the front, PressCorps Radio has just the right tunes for you. For the PressCorps, I'm Cecil A Vectori. Thank you.
The PressCorps is an all-volunteer creative collective of reporters, broadcasters, artists, and more from the MMO video game Foxhole, developed by Siege Camp. Our mission is to engross our audience in and amplify the stories of this unique war ecosystem. The PressCorps was founded in 2018 by former Planetside 2 Radio Free Auraxis host, CaptainInArms. It is a separate community entity and is not officially representative of Siege Camp. For more information, visit our website at PressCorpsGaming.com. That's PressCorps Gaming.com.